Hi folks, welcome to today's video, my herniated disc recovery journey, overcoming the mental struggles. Now, for those folks out there suffering with low back pain issues such as sciatica nerve pain, lumbar herniated discs, lumbar arthritis, lumbar stenosis, the mental side of pain, the mental side of that recovery can be very, very overwhelming. It is something doctors, classic healthcare does not deal with very effectively. I myself have had herniated discs numerous times, twice to be exact, and I'm still dealing with some of that stuff today. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the things that I do, that I practice to help me move forward, stay optimistic, and overcome those dark times during recovery. Let's dive into today's video. So folks, today, this is a pretty big, expansive topic. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because it brings up a lot of, hurtful emotions. And that is the dark side of recovery when it comes to herniated disc recovery. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experiences for this. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? Okay. So basically, back in 2005, I was working as a personal trainer, strength coach in America, and I herniated my L5-S1. There was a few other issues, a bit of mild stenosis, bulge in discs, etc. I just started on a course with a man called Dr. Guy Voyer, very famous French osteopath, who convinced me that, along with different activities and stretches, I'd be able to recover without needing to get surgery, okay? And I did actually, I've got a separate video, which is going to be shown up at the end of this one, which basically details why I chose not to get surgery. Even though at one stage I couldn't walk for a couple of weeks, I had like searing sciatica nerve pain. I literally lived on the floor. My girlfriend at the time was cutting up my food for me. I was literally on my laptop, couldn't go to work. It was a pretty dark, tough time, okay? But I overcame it. I basically developed my own rehab plan. My doctor was like super shocked, amazed. He was so amazed at this recovery that he started to send me people to see me, okay, to help work with them as well. And I was there, I was in the US for like 6 years working, and I moved back to Europe. And I actually did the same kind of work again. I lived in Prague for a long time, and I helped a guy in the gym there, and he put me in touch with his neurologist, and then she started to send me patients as well, okay? So I've worked hundreds of people all over the world with their low back pain problems. And degree-wise, I did like a sports science coaching degree. I did a postgraduate sport and exercise psychology as well. I've done numerous courses on strongman training, mobility, etc. The sort of stuff you do as a trainer, okay? Always increasing my knowledge and working with lots of people to get more information. Now, fast forward, 2024, actually, I re-herniated my L5-S1. Got too greedy, got too lazy with the exercises, deadlift to be precise, rounded spine, and put myself back, okay? And I knew exactly what had happened, okay? But it's 19 years later, my body doesn't heal as fast anymore, so I knew I was in for a long journey, okay? Now, in the beginning, I had a lot of numbness in my foot and the leg itself. That got better, okay? I'm at the stage now where I'm kind of 99%. I've got 1% more, a little bit of sciatica pain sometimes. Not much, I have more sort of like more good days than bad days, so to speak. I'm getting back to training more normally. But along this way, there's been a lot of times where I do get angry, depressed, sad, okay? And I have to bring myself back around and say, hey, look where you've come from. And to put it out there, this is very, very common. And this is one of the reasons I want to talk about it, is a lot of people struggle with this. So I want to give you a few home truths, okay, that will hopefully alleviate some people who are out there struggling with this mental anguish, depression, sadness, anger, bitterness, self-torment, basically, with this type of recovery journey, okay? For me, one of the most annoying things that I see on the internet is herniated disc recovery. You should feel better within 4 to 6 weeks, or it heals in 10 to 12 weeks, okay? So like 3 months, right? That is incorrect, okay? You will have symptomatic pain relief within 3 months, but healing and recovery take a lot longer. And it is very, very, very dependent on your age. If you're under 35, under 30, you're going to recover a lot faster, okay? The more severe the injury is unless there's like, bladder control issues, defecation control issues, drop foot, like serious nerve impingement, then you'll probably avoid surgery and you'll recover quicker, okay? if it's a more acute, like severe injury. And that's just because the body's recovery process, anti-inflammatory process is much more sort of amplified when the injury has been more severe, okay? If you're over 35, if it is, you know, a disc protrusion, pushing on the nerve, you're getting a little bit of sciatica pain, it's really annoying, you know, you get a little bit of back pain, it's going to be a longer recovery period, right? So why do they say this in the literature? Well, I think there's been a mistake, not literature, sorry, on blogs, etc. Because your symptoms will decrease within 3 months, 2 months, 3 months. Somebody has now extrapolated that to mean, oh, you'll be healed. No, you won't, all right? Healing takes a lot longer. For what they call disc reabsorption, meaning essentially not so much reabsorption, where the disc, it's herniated, and then you've got things like phagocytosis, dehydration happens on that alien disc material. I think the quickest recorded case that I've read in literature was 8 months. I'm sure it was 8 months. Yeah, something like 8 months, okay? And there was no sign of the herniation again in the MRI. Obviously, the disc itself has got less volume, less size, because that liquid is gone, right? It can't be replaced, okay? But you can help maintain it with doing different exercises. However, realistically, you're looking at 6 to 12 months, okay, of carefully graded exercise. Most likely, you're going to be pain-free somewhere in the sort of 14 to 18 month range, depending on your age. I'm 17 months now, so I've given myself 2 years most likely before I get to that stage. First time around, 19 years ago, it was roughly 14 months, okay? I would still get some issues when I'd sit in a long car ride, like the compression on the nerve itself, and you'd get up and, oh, it'd be a bit sore, and then it would disappear. You wouldn't feel it, you know, for the rest of the day. But I know this, I'm older, I know my recovery process takes a lot longer, okay? But let me just put it out there. It is a long recovery process, okay? A couple other things. If you go to the gym, you're a bodybuilder, active gym user, you're gonna lose muscle. Okay, you will lose muscle tissue because you can't train like you could before. You can't get the metabolic response you can before. You can't have the same weights on your shoulders you can before, right? I lost around 5 kilos, I would say 5 kilos. Okay, things may get interrupted, like your daily activities, your daily chores, okay? I'll be brutally honest, your sex life may have to change as well because of the pain factor, okay? All these things come into play up here in your head, yeah? Now, I tell people numerous times, you need to journal your recovery. Why? Because at your darkest times, you can look back and see where you were and where you've got to, okay? I've spoken to, I don't know, hundreds of people online with my free advice call online. People are scared. People are scared they won't return to their normal, you know, level of exercise. People are scared, they're upset, they can't play with the kids, they can't pick up their newborn baby. You know, people have told me about their thought processes, like, you know, dark, and I'm talking dark, dark, dark times, okay? With their personal issues, with their jobs, family life, because you often, when you get angry within yourself, you take it out on the people closest to you, your wife, partner, husband, whatever, okay? So these thoughts, they're all completely normal. Right? It is a normal process because, and again, I'm trying to get this point across, the reason it takes so long for discs to heal is because they do not have a direct blood supply, okay? They get their nutrients from the surrounding tissues through an osmotic effect, okay, with the transfer across the cell membranes. So keeping moving, keeping blood flow going, you know, doing sort of cardio work and stuff in your rehab is very, very important for the healing process. But the healing process takes a long time, okay? You will be recovered long before that disc is ever completely healed. Recovered by meaning pain-free movement, doing most of your activities. But you always have to be conscious that, hey, that little herniated disc is still there. I want to be very careful the next couple of years to make sure I don't re-injure it, all right? So what I'm trying to get across, first of all, is that the thoughts you will have about, oh, bouncing back, it's not like a broken arm or broken leg where you're 6 to 8 weeks in a cast, go through your 4, 5, 6 weeks of rehab, and then you're back on the field playing. No, this is a much longer process, okay? Now, just quickly, if you decide to get surgery, your recovery process is not any shorter, okay? In fact, it can be longer because typically for the first 4 weeks after surgery, they tell you, you know, walking, that's about it. They don't want any stress on that area where you had the operation. It's very, very important, okay, for avoiding herniation and other issues. And then you're going to do the same rehab process that most people do if they still have the disc unoperated on, basically. All right. So I hope, first of all, that I've got across that, a lot of these feelings you're going to go through, anger, depression, sadness, it's normal, completely normal. Okay. Now, I just mentioned it, but you got to start journaling what you're doing. Okay. When you journal, and I'm talking, if you go back a few weeks, you'll see my first video. I was talking about the basic exercises I was doing, things like, bird dog variations, planking, I was doing sort of knee push-ups. You make a little record of your exercises, okay? Write the repetitions you do. Write everything down. Write hours sleep you got, okay? Level of, your stress. These things are very important, and you want to keep it either in a booklet or in your phone, however you find best to keep these things, because I'm going to be brutally honest here, you will have setbacks. There will be times during your journey you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, what happened? Why am I in pain today? I was doing so well. Nothing's been different, I don't think, okay? Because there will be times, just because the way the nerves regenerate, how you move in your sleep, maybe you did twist something a couple of days before, you don't know, maybe you took the rubbish out, the bins out, the trash, the garbage, and you didn't notice how you twisted as you moved the bins, and it kicked off a response, and that kicks up a couple of days later. If you've got that record, you can see where you've come from, okay? And how you've got to that spot. Like, oh, well, last month I was only doing 10 push-ups, now I'm doing 15, okay? It's like a 30% increase. Sorry, 50% increase. Sorry, my math's bad. And it lets you see where you've come. And that helps you to reframe your thoughts, because one of the better methods in psychology is using CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, okay, where you take thoughts, right, and you say, okay, what's the justification, the reasons for these thoughts, yeah? Where's the evidence for them, right? And, oh, I'll never play tennis again. Well, how can you say that, okay? Like you've come from, like walking maybe 5,000 steps a day to now walking 10,000 and jogging for a couple of minutes of the day, right? Those are steps towards playing tennis again. So you can't say that you'll never play tennis again, because so that thought is not justified, okay? There's no truth to that thought, right? And CBT is about sort of taking thoughts to negative emotions, reframing them, and saying, okay, I can't play tennis right now, but I can jog for 5 minutes a day. That's me making my way towards being able to play tennis again, right? Currently, okay, I had a weird setback last week. I think it was last Friday. I was out for a walk, quite a hard walk. I was walking up some hills and stuff, and I had this like strange pull up in my hip flexor region. And I was like, this is really odd. And it was really sore the next day. I had to take painkillers. I was like, well, what's going on here? Like, why am I going backwards? I had a really good 2 weeks. And it's most likely because I have bulging at L2, L3 and L3, L4. And the nerve, which basically innervates into the iliopsoas, the hip flexor muscle, comes out of that region. So it's potentially the nerve has been irritated, potentially that disc has been a bit irritated with something I've done. But it's almost back to normal now. It took about a week or so. And that's what you'll find, is a lot of these things will get better within 2 days, 3 days, perhaps a week, okay? It can take longer for certain setbacks. When I moved, long story short, I did a lot of the heavy lifting. I won't bore you with details as to why. I knew I was going to be in pain, right? Because I was lifting like my heavy dumbbells and moving stuff around, big boxes. And yeah, it took me about 3-4 weeks to get back to the same level I had been before that. Okay, and that's just, as we say, the nature of the beast. There will be setbacks along your journey, so understand it's going to happen. You're not going to have a completely smooth journey from where you are now to where you're going to be, right? But if you've got the journal, you can look back and say, hey, you know what? I could barely do this before, now I can do this. I could barely do this before, now I can do this. And that was the same for me, right? I was at one stage, the second time around with this herniation, walking was difficult at some stages. I was dragging my leg behind me, I couldn't sit on the plane. I flew to South Africa with my wife, she's from South Africa. I had to stand pretty much the whole journey from Amsterdam to Joburg because the sciatica pain was that bad when I sat. I've come a long way from there, I can tell you, okay? But it's only because I keep a journal, I keep noting things down, I keep my workouts, I know where I've been and where I am going, okay? But I understand that, yeah, there will be setbacks. There could be more setbacks along the way, okay? But it's understanding that they're going to happen, okay, and how you deal with them, all right? Now, what you don't want to get into, and there's a picture that's going to flash up in a second, and it's this catastrophization model, right? It's where something has caused you pain, it could be an exercise or something, and then you will avoid it, and then you start avoiding other exercises, and literally as you're about to go into doing a movement, you start, oh, this is going to hurt me, this is going to hurt me, I know it's going to hurt me, oh, and then you're so tense going into it, you get a pain response, and I was right, it did hurt me, okay? And then you just keep compounding it, and it's a horrible cycle to fall into, okay? And again, it's about incremental graded exercise, okay? You cannot fear, because there's exercises you're going to do, and this happens to my clients when I tell them, I said, look, you're going to do this exercise, a new exercise, you're going to be sore the next day, right? You're moving tissues that have not been moved in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It's completely normal, right, to have some pain. And the way I tell people to sort of not overcome, but how to deal with it is having a 3 or 4 pain is okay when doing the exercise out of 10, right? If we do the exercise, during the exercise, later that day, and or the next day, it's like a 5, 6. So if there's been a definite pain response, okay? I say, right, that is a amber flag, orange flag. We're going to note that down, right? We're not going to focus on it too much. We're going to note it down that activity you've done on that day, the new workout, whatever it could be, has caused an uptick, okay? Second day, as I say, it may happen on that day, but it may happen the day after the exercise. We're going to watch the third day, because normally for most people on the third day, that pain drops back down, okay? Either to where they were before they did the exercise or just about, yeah? And then the fourth day, it's gone right back to where they were before, okay? That is quite normal kind of pain reaction response. If on the third day, the pain is still high or increased even more, then we go, red flag. Something we have done in that workout, maybe one of the new exercises, has caused something. Did you do anything else that day? Oh, you know what? I went for an extra walk. Or did you do the exercise I told you? Yeah, but I added in these 2 extra things. Too much, okay? Because you can always do too much as well, which again, I keep talking about it. Record everything you do, right? So having these pain responses is completely normal. Okay, we just need to mark it down. Don't get hyper-focused on it, yeah? Just be aware of it. See how the body reacts for a couple of days after, because one of the clients I'm working with at the minute, he had quite bad pain responses when we first started the workout, but I literally tightened up his technique, because I do video reviews. We tighten up the technique, and I say, Colin, no pain. And then the next day, Colin, no pain. And I'm just like, fantastic news, okay? Because you can have the best program ever, right? But if you don't apply it and do the exercises exactly as they're supposed to do, and we're humans, right? We might not do things exactly as we see it. We think we're doing it correctly, right? But we need some sort of video review or somebody to help us. Then it's very normal, if we don't do it 100% correct, that we will have some pain, okay? But it's understanding the pain is okay. It's okay, right, to have some pain, as long as it comes down after we've stopped. If you've got pain the next day, don't exercise that day, right? Take it easy, go for a gentle walk, whatever. See how it feels that third day. It should have come down that third day, yeah? And another truth that I'm going to tell you is, that a lot of people won't say to you, is that I used to work with a lot of athletes, professional athletes, across different sports. American football, NHL hockey in the US, NBA, US, back in the UK, some international cyclists. And I don't think there's any athlete I have met who does not carry some level of pain with them, okay? Anybody who has been a constant gym user, active person, be it long distance runner, long distance cyclist, or gym based, will have some level of pain, just kind of off and on, okay? Me, myself, I don't just have back issues, I've got cervical spine issues, I've got torn labrum in my left shoulder, I've got torn ligaments in both hips, I had bursitis in both hips, I had FAI, impingement syndrome in both hips, I've got torn meniscus in my right knee with grade 3, which should be operated on, but it's still there, doesn't give me much pain. I've got no cartilage. If you see here, I can touch my shoulder. I can't touch it. I've got no cartilage left at one point in my ulna, so it's extreme pain if I go any further than that. So yeah, I've got a lot of things going on, right? And it's mainly because I played a lot of rugby, I was golfing, I was playing, I used to do a lot of martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, I was doing downhill mountain biking, cross-country mountain biking, pretty much anything which involved a lot of risk to my body or damage, I did, right? So, you know, even when I have no back issue or sciatica, occasionally I'll have little tweaks and stuff. Completely normal. If you're an active person, it's completely normal to have some pain, okay? And it's normally in a kind of 2 to 3, maybe a 4 scale some days, okay? But it's understanding that it's normal, okay? As we age, we will have pain and some issues to carry with us, okay? It's how we deal with it, how we cope with it. Now, one of the things that I love to do is I like going out walks, okay? I've always done it since I was younger as well. I lived in a village in the country in Scotland, so you had to walk to get to places, to the pub mainly, I'm joking. But, you know, walking out in nature, being aware of the sounds, hearing the birds, watching, it depends what environment you're in. If you're in the city, when I was in the US, I used to go to New York quite a lot. I used to like going to Central Park or going down to different parts of New York City, just walk around the neighborhoods, looking at the buildings. And because that itself, you know, your sort of distraction, your brain is elsewhere, you're not thinking about the pain, you're getting sort of, you know, opioid dopamine releases from different activities you will do. Laughter is amazing, okay? Watch a good comedy, go to a comedy show. There's a lot of things you can do to deal with the pain, yeah? As I said, for me, I really like walking, getting outside, movement itself. I can be in pain in the home, okay, doing stuff. I will go to the gym to do my workout. I won't feel a single thing from my workout, yeah? Because I'm doing something I enjoy, right? And this is very important as well. So like how I dealt with a lot of, you know, because I'll be honest, there was times where I was just like really frustrated. I was angry because it's like, why am I not getting better? Why am I not getting better? And I have to say, Colin, stop. You're not 30 anymore. You're 50, okay? You are unfortunately past the age where nerves regenerate quickly. They don't in your case, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Look how far and I would literally self-talk to myself. Look how far you've come. Look what you're doing now. Look what you couldn't do before, okay? And as I said, I get a lot of pain relief when I go to the gym to work out. I'm doing exercises, moving my muscles, gets the blood pumping, okay? So keeping moving is very important for me, yeah, to sort of deal, okay, with those kind of like mental coping issues. The worst thing that I can tell you to do is stay at home and be alone with your pain. I have worked with people who worked from home, who had a little home gym in their office, okay? And I said, look, this is the worst setup. You gotta remove yourself from your desk because you're gonna go from an email or some sort of thing where you're like tense and agitated, and you're gonna go and try to do exercises. It's such a bad idea, okay? People often ask me, can I do these exercises at home that I give people, right? Yeah, you can, okay? But if you can get to a gym, or even if you've got the environment to work outside in the park, get a suspension trainer, that's fantastic, okay? We're not designed to be stuck inside, okay, to do everything, yeah? So for me, I have to, like, personally, I feel like if I'm, you know, dealing with some clients, writing workouts, whatever it is, I'm maybe on the computer quite a lot, I literally have to get out of the house. I get like cabin fever. I got to get out and go for a walk, okay? And I'll, you know, take a walk for 30 minutes, half an hour or whatever. Even just get in the car, go to the gym. I have to, okay? So don't get yourself into the habit of, oh, I'm in pain, I can't go out, I'm just going to stay here and feel sorry for myself. No, get yourself out, okay? Catch up with some friends. That really helps me a lot as well, like socializing, meeting people, okay? All these little things helped me, you know, get through those mental struggles. I said hiking in the mountains, you know, getting out, trekking, even riding my bike, okay, which I can see in the background. No, it's out of the background shot. You know, getting to the gym and doing more workouts, even if it's just my basic rehab. If I'm doing it in the gym, it just feels better, yeah? Talking about it with your partner, okay? Thinking about reframing your thoughts, putting things in your journal, okay, noting the recovery in the journal that you've had, right? All these things go a long way to helping you get through this injury because it's a long, gradual return to activity, okay? I cannot stress that enough. And those are the types of things which really help me, okay? I didn't go and see a psychologist, didn't go and see a psychiatrist, didn't go to a counselor, okay? I had enough knowledge myself to implement, to look back on, and of course, the second time around, I'm obviously talking to you guys, right? As I've been on the second journey, which is also helpful because it gives a chance for me to put things out there, which I know you guys must be experiencing, I know I am, yeah? And that's also helped me as well. So If you want to chat, guys, if you want to, grab a free advice call, I do offer that. It's in the link down below. You can book a free advice call. Now, you must understand that, sometimes my schedule is pretty busy. I'm off and I'm taking a break as of next week. But, you can book ahead, whatever, see if you can get a space to have a chat with me. It's a free advice. We talk about exercise and stuff to do. You want to drop me an email? I always respond to emails. It might take me a week or so to get back to you guys, but I do always respond to emails as well, okay? So guys, listen, I hope this video has been useful, for you. I've been speaking about, as I said, last time I was talking about different stretches I've been doing during my recovery. The week before that, I was talking about some beginner exercises. Today, I've been talking about sort of the mental struggles that I've been going through as well. Some of the things I've done to overcome those. Next week, I'm going to be talking more about the more advanced exercises that I was using for my rehab. And I'm still using some of them as I go through. But listen, if this video has been useful for you guys, don't forget, subscribe for more great content. Okay, go check out my other videos. I said there's a video that's going to pop up in just a little bit about why I didn't have surgery, okay? And there's a video that's going to pop up which is going to be on CBT specifically, okay, about sort of mental reframing of thoughts. Definitely check it out, all right? Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next week for the advanced exercise routine. Take care.